Hey friends, it is Lisa Ziegler coming back to you here at Ask a Flower Farmer. We have a new time, 12:30 instead of 11:30, and we have had a lot of fun having other folks doing a takeover of my Ask a Flower Farmer, and I am just really glad to be back. And we've heard from you guys that you enjoyed having a little bit of a mix-up in the people that are doing Ask a Flower Farmer. So we're going to continue doing that, and we really appreciate those that are doing that for us. And as you can see, I'm here at the farm, and I can't really tell you what we're doing, but I will tell you we're in the midst of a big photo shoot. You can see our photographer's ladder there over top of our flat board, and those cosmos are next up for a photograph, and you'll probably see Bob here in a few minutes. So I've missed talking to you guys and answering your questions, but I know that Ellen, Daniel, and Dave totally hit it out of the park with you guys. So you know how this works. If you have any questions, just post them in the little bubble down below with the question mark. And if it's related to flower farming and gardening, farm dogs, flower farming business, seed starting, cool flowers, whatever is your pleasure, I would be happy to answer that for you. So I'm actually on the carport of my work building, which normally, I come to you from the warehouse, but Wednesday has become a farm day for me during this time. And I'm really excited to, maybe I'll grab, guess what I have just happened to have sitting right over here. Wait till I show you all this. So these little fellas are up next for a photo shoot. These are the small blocks. There's 60 of them on this tray. These are actually warm season tender annuals that'll never be planted. It's too late for them. But they will, they're examples of the perfect size. So you can see they're about 5 inches or so. And just totally in all, we have so many cool flowers. Do y'all have any cool flowers started? I would love to hear about that. And I know that, I'm going to give you a secret. So since I'm standing here with all my seedlings, I did a little experiment. And I want to show you something. Does anybody else's amaranth get like this? See how it's all twisted and just a bloomin' mess, right? Well, guess why that is. But look at this. So this is about a week behind these, but look how nice and straight they are. You don't know what the difference is? It's not lack of light. Well, it is kind of, but it's different than what we think. What I have figured out is that amaranth germinates so quickly, literally 10 hours, y'all. Bobo sows it on the blocks in the morning. We put it onto seedling heat mat. And that evening, I take them off the mat and put them under grow lights. Well, who does that? I never ever looked at my seedlings that quick before, right? So these sat overnight with darkness, and the stems started to stretch and look. But when you move them quickly, that is the secret to amaranth. You just don't know how happy I am to have figured that out, y'all. All right, I'm coming back to you. So I see we have some questions down there. So I want to say just a couple announcements before I jump into questions. If you aren't joining me on Fridays at 12 noon Eastern Time inside our phone app, Gardener's Workshop Live Shop app, friends, come on over. I am showing our live harvest each week, giving you the 411 on it. I'm talking about cool flowers and what we're starting. I see people are saying, yes, she started snaps, dianthus status. Great. And if you're seeing folks put the little sunflower emoji, you know who that is, right? People that are identifying themselves as our students. And that's really important because we are heading in registration for Flower Farming School, my course, the basics, opens October 1st through the 5th. It's only open for 5 days, once a year, y'all. And we love it when folks identify themselves as our students, because then other people can reach out to them and say, hey, what'd you think about their course? Did it help you? So we love it. We thank you all. Y'all making my heart swell. Everybody identifying themselves. And as we're so my registration is the 1st of October. Then the Farmer Florist course with Jenny Love is about 2 weeks after that. Then a couple weeks after that, I'm sorry, I don't remember if it's Ellen Frost, Farmer, the growing your business with locally sourced flowers. Friends, you want every commercial customer you potentially have to learn from Ellen why and how they should buy from you. Sorry about the airplane. And then also, to finish the year up, Steve and Gretel's course, Grow and Cut Flowers in Hoop and Greenhouses. And friends, they take you from where to locate it, which kind you should buy for wherever you are, where to get them, setting it up, pest control, what to grow, planning. They will explode your brain with information. Anyway, so we're heading straight into that time. So we really appreciate when y'all identify yourselves. And if you see multiple sons, that means they've taken multiple classes. All right, let's take a look at some of these questions. All right. This is the question I have too. Danielle, when will your Cool Flowers book be back in stock? Can't wait to get my hands on it. You and me both. So, supply chain problems are a reality, y'all. This is another one. Paper is a big problem. The publisher had to switch where it got printed because of that. And I'm told that the end of October. But here's a couple of tips for you. First off, you can get the ebook or the Kindle if you need some, if you're that desperate. Or we have a lot of companions to the book over at thegardenersworkshop.com. Go to the resources, go to my blog, which is one of the resources. Go to Cool Flowers category, and in there is the Cool Season Flower Chronicles. And that blog post, which actually is 5 videos, it's a series of 5 videos, I have piled all of my resources onto that page. You can request all kinds of stuff. So there's enough stuff there that may help you just limp along until you can get the book. And who knew that the book would go out of stock during the cool season, right? Anyway, so sorry about that, but it's coming. All right. Sidewalk Blooms is at, what is the earliest filler/greenery that you grow in your zone? Well, we all have different opinions of what filler is, but to me, the majority of cool flowers are actually filler. Bupleurum and Bells of Ireland and Nigella and yarrow and all of those cool season kind of flat, big, dill, false Queen Anne's lace, all of those would be, my problem early in the season is I have more filler than I have like focal flowers. So a lot of the cool flowers but Bupleurum is probably, and Bells of Ireland are big greeneries, I guess, for us. So remember, if you want to post a question, put it in the bubble down below, because I'll answer these first, and then if we have time, I'll scroll. But I miss questions when they're in the comments. So if I'm only starting to sow status snaps, now would not be too small and too cold out. So if you haven't read my book, Cool Flowers, obviously we just said it's not available now, but go to the Cool Season Flower Chronicles and watch the 5 videos. They're 30 minutes each. They're like my most frequently asked questions, and they explain the concept. It all depends on your first and last frost date and your winter hardiness zone. So it just really depends on when you're supposed to plant. And that's the real bottom line. You have got to figure out that part of when you're supposed to plant, and that'll answer all your questions. Why do my cosmos droop, and what can I do to fix that problem? Kara, totally can be time of day. So I'll show you this. So this is a cornucopia of a bunch of different cosmos. Isn't that beautiful? And there are definitely some cosmos. Double Click, which is the one that there are a few of those in here. They're the doubles. they can be known to have soft necks, but in general, if we harvest them early in the morning, strip them properly, get all the foliage off that's not in the top 6 inches or so. We use flower conditioning products. We do them into CVBN tablets, and they go to holding. But we do it in the morning and get them indoors. That makes a really, really big difference. But it may also be specific to a variety. So that's what I would figure out. We grow like 14 different varieties of cosmos. That's kind of a, you can find them all over at thegardenersworkshop.com, and you can find them there. So try that. Cut them in the morning, strip them. These are all beyond cutting. They should be in actual bud form like this, kind of, when you cut them. They shouldn't be open like this. This is for photography, right? So that also helps too. All right, let's see here. Harvesting bee balm is a mystery to me. The florets turn brown quickly. Any suggestion? Well, the only Monarda that I grow is lambada, so that's all I can speak to, and we definitely harvest it much earlier than most people do because we want it before it gets colored up. And maybe you're cutting it too late if it's starting to get brown. That's what I would guess. And also, if it gets pollinated by a bee, that can also be the problem. So we cut them before. The bees still have tons to get to, but we cut them really, really early to minimize the number of florets that actually get pollinated. But I bet that's what your problem is. So you got to cut them earlier than later. Let's see. Can the support netting be used for spacing all cut flowers at 6 inches, or do some absolutely need more? Well, I will tell you that 99% of my cut flowers, all of my annuals, are 4 rows 6 inches apart. So we put the net, we center the 4 holes across of the netting in the bed, and that's what we plant in. Every hole gets a plant in it. And then there's some things that are obviously bigger that we only put 2 rows, like hairy balls and big rudbeckia. The giant rudbeckias like triloba. But yes, we use it for primarily everything. And if you're wondering what she's talking about, we use the flower support netting for a planting grid. You can find the netting over at thegardenersworkshop.com. Saves time, and you don't have, the plants are spaced properly so you can fit the maximum that you can actually get into your garden, which is my big deal. If you just lost an inch on every plant in a row, if you had a 50-foot row, you're going to lose multiple plants by not having the proper spacing. This just eliminates all the guesswork, and you never leave that netting laying in the garden. We roll it out, we plant, and she rolls it right back up. Just starting out with cool flowers, do I keep my drip line in until first frost? So it really depends on, so we install irrigation in all of our beds, but we only hand water when we're fall planting, so we don't put water into the irrigation so it can go through winter. That does 2 things. It keeps it from freezing, as well as rodents that like to chew on the lines through winter are trying to get to water. So if there's no water in there, that pretty much prevents that. So that's what we do. We just hand water in the fall, which is what we always do when we're planting. At planting time, we don't rely on irrigation. Let's see. Michelle, I have some cut zinnias from a farmer's market. Can I somehow save the seeds, and when should I plant them? Well, all of the zinnias that we actually grow are actually hybrids, so they do not come back true to seed. That means that if you save seed from that, chances are whatever comes back will be, usually there's one strong color, like I know in Benari's Giants, it's the pink. Sometimes that'll reseed, not often, but the pink, but none of the other colors do. So I don't recommend saving seed, especially when you're first starting out. And the stage you save them and how you store them affects whether they germinate. buy a pack of seeds so you'll know you'll get all the colors and enjoy your flowers. But so that's what we do. We buy new seeds every single year. Emerald Flower Farm. Any advice on how to condition hydrangeas? I have dipped them in hot water, but it doesn't always work. We grow a lot of hydrangeas, tons actually, and I have never done hot water or any special handling. The secret is this, and it also depends on the variety and the time of year that you are actually cutting them. If you are cutting them super fresh, like we do early in the season, I mean, we have them for Mother's Day, cutting the blooms pretty immature. We cut, in general, we always cut at the crack of dawn, like at 6 o'clock in the morning, before the sun even hits them, into straight water, and then they go into refrigeration. Hydrangeas are just like lettuce. If you put them in the refrigerator, it just crisps the heads up, and they really do, it does a great job. So we try to use all of ours. I mean, we try to sell as much of our hydrangea crops. I mean, I do the mop heads and limelights and some oak leaf, and all of them we try to sell them fresh. Yes, they turn a beautiful color and change colors later in the season, and that's fine if we still have them, but we try to move them. I mean, the point is to sell them, right? And we use them for bouquet fillers like nobody's tomorrow this time of the year. Any that are left, because I have a lot. I mean, I have 2 hydrangea groves here on our farm. And a lot of them start to turn green. At that point, they hold up so much better. We still cut them in the morning, but they very seldom, if ever, wilt. So you may be cutting them too immature. Again, it depends on the variety. But refrigeration really helps. Water, but I've just never done any of that special handling. And I will tell you that if I say that I have sold 50,000 hydrangea stems in my career, that might be an understatement. And we just haven't needed to do that. It's more about the time of day and how well hydrated they are before you cut them. Aw, thank you, Cultivating the Heart. So glad you're back. Is this the new time? And can you go over bed prep for fall planting? Add soil amendments, Cosmos. I got Cosmo on the break. Compost. So yes, this is the new time, and this is so funny, y'all. So we learned. So I've always done it at 11:30, right before lunch, right? Well, Daniel Shavy of Petal Pickers, who filled in for me a couple of times, he went to his summer house in Florida, which is it's on the Panhandle, so it's a different time zone. He totally forgot that there was a time change, and he went an hour later, so it was really 12:30. Y'all, we had so many more views. I mean, I know Daniel is like a hot topic, but he's done other weeks at the regular time, and we didn't have as many views. So we think that we are just testing the waters, is what I'm saying, right? So yes, 12:30 is the new time for now. All right, so cool flower bed prep, we're just getting ready to do it. We're trying to finish up my project so we can take out all the warm season stuff. So we basically add the organic dry fertilizer, which you'll find on our website if you want the details on that. It's a chicken litter based fertilizer. So it's OMRI certified. We add it according to directions to all of the beds, all the areas that are being prepared, and we'll prepare direct seeded beds, which means they're open with nothing on them, no Bio 360, and then we'll make beds with Bio 360 that we plant all of our transplants in. And I will tell y'all, I have started too many transplants. Oh my gosh, we're out of grow lights. I'm having a personal crisis here. We have to bring out all these plants every day now because I have so many cool season hardy annuals. So that's all that we add. If we have compost, I mean, a lot of our beds will get a couple inches of compost on top of it. Different beds get that. I mean, we don't do it every single turn. We try to do it once a year. So yeah, it's cool season time. That's September is bed prepping for us, so we can start planting the 1st of October. So when the questions are long, I have to read them over here on the big screen first. How do you organize the succession in each row to maximize production? For example, I feel like if I wanted to sow a cover crop for fall and winter, I'd be cutting the lives of my late summer flowers short, etc. Yeah, that's a great point. First off, not everybody needs to be cover cropping. Cover cropping is something that you add into your farming or gardening life after you have mastered succession planting. Succession planting means you're constantly starting seeds and pulling out stuff that's just puny in and put in something new. You're constantly changing out plants, which people think that sounds like a lot of work, but I'm telling you, friends, it's not, because you're not doing the whole garden. You have bits and pieces here and there. And so what I want to say to you is it is really hard to make cover cropping a cohesive piece of that until you get a lot of experience under your belt. But your question says that you are figuring it out, because I know that I don't want to plant a heavy cover crop where my first summer warm season tender annual planting is going, because when you turn it under, it takes it 3 to 4 weeks maybe to break down. Well, you want to get your stuff in the ground. So I don't cover crop where that first warm season is going. We might add compost to that area now, prepare it, and then lay a silage tarp over it all winter, and then we can just pull it back and do whatever we're going to do. We can make the beds, put Bio 360. Does that make sense? So you have to think ahead of what's coming after a cover crop, and most people are not prepared to do that. Too late to start seeds in soil blocks for cool season plants, zone 6B here. So I doubt it is, but it's not your zone. Your zone only tells you what you can plant in the fall, anything that's winter hardy for you. Your frost date tells you when you're supposed to plant it. You're planting it 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date, or your first frost date. And you have a lot of wiggle room. I would say get with it, starting your seeds, and then go out and get all your beds prepped and ready. Because you can use hoops and row covers, lightweight, you can buy yourself 3 or 4 weeks back. So no, it's not too late, and I'll be answering that question, I'm telling you, 5 million times between now and Christmas. But I will tell you that if you are in zone 7B, 8, or 9, you can pretty much almost plant all winter. But when before your ground is getting frozen. If your ground's not frozen, you can still plant. So keep starting. And let's see, cultivating the heart. Can you go over succession planting? For example, how do you start yarrow in the fall, spring, summer to plant and extend cutting? What are some flowers that you would recommend succession planting? So you could do that with yarrow. However, the problem that I find is it's not worth it to me. When we fall plant yarrow and all the cool flowers that I can plant in the fall, which is almost all of them, because I'm zone 8A, 7B. I'm right on the line. If I can plant that in the fall, which gives it maximum time to establish, and it blooms whenever in the spring and early summer, we get killer size stems, we get abundant stems, great disease and pest resistance. When we plant those same types of plants later, like you're suggesting in very early spring, and even in very early just in spring, we find they're not abundant enough. Their stems are not quite tall enough. The blooms might not be big enough, and a lot of them fall victim to disease. Snapdragons are a perfect one for that for us. We tried planting them really late into summer last year, and they grew. I got stems, but guess what, y'all? We have never had rust on this farm in 24 years in snaps, because we've always fall planted in very early spring. But planting them later, all those later groups that you can do that with, yeah, they grew and they were decent size, but they all had rust. So those are the things you have to consider. There are a lot of things you can succession plant, but the question is where you are. Where I am with the heat and humidity, it's not worth for me to plant many of them. But here's the thing, you have to figure that out for you in your area. You have to do it, friends. You just have to do it. All right. And for succession planting, something I would succession plant with great success is I do Bupleurum. But when I say succession plant, I'm talking about planting throughout winter and very early spring. Bupleurum, Amazon, Sweet William, no other variety, just Amazon. My mind's just gone blank, y'all. I'm so tired. We've been doing this photo shoot since 6 o'clock this morning. All right. Favorite cover crop for late fall, favorite for drainage, thanks. So Favorite as in it really depends on if you have equipment or not. My always go-to that'll take down to below 10 degrees below zero, meaning you plant it in the fall, and as long as it doesn't go 10 degrees below zero, it'll survive winter, is crimson clover. It's an easy turn. I want to just say about cover cropping, every cover crop is typically a good turn if you do it at the proper time. Most people let their cover crops go on way too long. They go to seed, they get hard and woody, and they get tough, and you can't turn them in. That's what turns off so many people to cover crop. But when you do it at the proper time, which basically is when they're at the peak of beautifulness, as they are just starting to bloom and they are gorgeous and everybody loves them, that's when you turn them under. That's the whole cusp of the problem. So I'm a big crimson clover for cool season and buckwheat for summer. Any idea why my Sahara and cherry brandy rudbeckia limps over in the vase? I tried to cut it all stages with similar issues. The question I would have for you is when we fall plant, rudbeckias are hardy to zone 5. I mean, I grow all of them, and we're cutting them early summer through the summer. Stage of harvest. So there is a phenomena that NC State, and this is my last question I will be able to answer. NC State, which is where Dr. John Dole is, that does all of our cut flower research for us. That's when you donate to the ASCFG Research Fund. That's a lot of the times where the money goes because they do so much vase life research. He did Rudbeckias once year, and there is definitely a syndrome that, particularly with Indian summer, that you'll have 90% of your crop will last for 3 weeks in a vase. Then there's 10% that just go down after a day or two. It's not like meltdown like zinnias get. They just go limp. They could not figure it out. It's just a phenomenon. I feel pretty certain, just like with zinnias, it's typically conditions in the field, whether there is a disease in those stems of some kind, of fungus, bacteria, whatever. So there's no fix for it. Unfortunately, you don't know which ones those are. We've been listening to that car alarm go on and off all day since 6 o'clock this morning. It's kind of crazy, y'all. Probably somebody robbing neighbors' yards, and we don't even realize it, right? All right, friends, we're wrapping it up because I have a photographer here. They're in there eating lunch. And if you've never checked him out, we just love Bob Scammerhorn, and his business is so easy to remember. His business, he is a award-winning wildlife photographer, which makes him perfect for flowers. And it's iphotobirds.com. And Bob travels and does shows all over the eastern seaboard selling his amazing wildlife images from bears and foxes and eagles and every songbird in your backyard. And it's just so amazing. And he did Vegetables Love Flowers, if you want to look at some of his work. And anyway, he sells note cards. And I mean, he also has a plan for you to do this awesome bird feature in your backyard. He's got it's so awesome, y'all. Anyway, we just love Bob to pieces, and we're going to get him back out here to go to work so we can all finish up. But you need looking for something to look up, and he's not on social media, so don't even go there. Can you believe it? So go to his website, iphotobirds.com, and you can see his imaging and stuff he sells. And he has a show schedule in there. He's going to be in Matthews, Virginia this coming weekend. Anyway, totally delightful, and we just love Bob and helping spread the word about him. So friends, don't forget that we'll be live on the Shopping Show Friday, 12 noon Eastern time. Get the app. Just go to your app store, search Gardener's Workshop Live Shop. Download it. Meet me there. I have special offers. You get to see my harvest, and we have an awesome harvest this week because of this photo shoot. We got more abundance. We oftentimes have new introductions. Sometimes we let y'all vote to tell us, do you think we should add this flower to our seed list? So friends, it's good to be back. We are pausing Clubhouse for now for the rest of the season. And we'll probably bring it back, but right now during this project and growing and everything else going on. But we'll be back. So meet me here. And of course, it's Saturdays at 11 o'clock. You can meet me on my YouTube channel. And Till we meet again, friends, thank you so much for being here and telling a friend. Please like and share this. And we appreciate y'all so much. And tell a friend about Flower Farming School, please. If you're a student, raise your hand by putting your sunflower emoji, and tell other folks. All right, friends, thank you. Hey, thank you. Thanks, Lisa. Orange is definitely your color. You have to know this. So orange is my favorite color. And we didn't have it on our photo list, but I went in and got all the orange flowers. I had orange coxcomb, Mexican sunflowers, orange celosia. It had a big picture taken with this orange shirt on. It's beautiful. Anyway, I love orange. All right, thank you, friends. See you again very soon. Ciao.